Look at a photo of yourself from 10 years ago. Now look in the mirror. The dullness, the sagging, that tired look that creeps in after 40. You assume it's just the cost of gravity and time. You assume the guys who dodge it just have better genetics or an expensive dermatologist. Usually, it's none of those things. Often, it's something they stopped doing, and it costs nothing. Now, I know how that sounds. Fasting makes you look 10 years younger is exactly the kind of line that should make you suspicious. You're right to be. So I'm not going to ask you to take my word for it. I'm going to show you the actual biological machinery. Most men treat their aging face like a surface problem. But those wrinkles and that tired skin don't start on the outside. They start deep inside your cells, when 3 specific regeneration systems quietly power down in your 40s. Fasting is the only known, natural way to switch all 3 back on. By the end of this, you won't think of fasting as a diet. You'll see it for what it actually is, a biological reset button for the way your face ages. Here is the first system that powered down, and exactly what happens the moment you starve it. The first system is your body's cellular cleanup crew. Scientists call it autophagy. It literally means self-eating, and the researcher who mapped out how it works won the Nobel Prize in medicine in 2016. That's how recently we understood this. Here's what it does. Every cell in your skin collects damage over time, old broken proteins, worn-out components, cellular junk that piles up and makes the cells sluggish and dull. Autophagy is the crew that goes in, identifies that garbage, breaks it down, and recycles it into fresh parts. When it's running well, your skin cells renew themselves efficiently. Your face looks bright, alive, awake. But here's the problem, and it's the whole reason this matters after 40. Autophagy runs on a kind of fuel-sensing switch, and the constant modern way of eating keeps that switch jammed in the off position. Every time you eat, especially carbs and sugar, you signal your body that fuel is abundant, that there's no need to clean house. And most men eat from the moment they wake until just before bed. 15, 16 hours a day of fuel is plentiful. Don't bother cleaning. The cleanup crew almost never clocks in, so the garbage accumulates. In your skin, that shows up as exactly the things you noticed in the mirror. Dullness, a tired and lifeless quality. Skin that stopped renewing the way it did at 30. Now here's what happens the moment you starve it. When you go without food for roughly 14 to 16 hours, that switch finally flips. Autophagy turns on and climbs. The crew that's been locked out for years finally gets to work, sorting through your cells, hauling out the damage, recycling the wreckage into new material. Research on skin specifically shows that when autophagy declines, skin ages faster and loses its even tone. When it's active, skin cells maintain themselves better. You're not putting something on your face. You're switching on the maintenance system underneath it. Think of it like a house where the cleaning crew was never allowed in because someone was always home, always making a mess. Fasting is simply locking the door for a few hours so the crew can finally do its job. They've been waiting years. Quick win. The easiest way to clock the crew in. Stop eating about 3 hours before bed and push your first meal 60 minutes after waking. That alone gets most men to a real 16-hour window where the cleanup switch flips without changing a single thing they eat. That's the cleanup. But cleaning out the damage only restores what you have. The second system actually rebuilds the structure of your face. And it's the one that collapses hardest after 40. The second system is collagen and the hormone that builds it. Collagen is the scaffolding of your skin. It's the protein that keeps your face firm, plump, and tight. When you were young, you had it in abundance, which is why young skin bounces back and looks full. As collagen breaks down and isn't replaced, the scaffolding sags. That's the mechanism behind the loosening jawline, the deepening lines, the hollowing that reads instantly as older. Here's what most men don't know. The building of new collagen is heavily driven by a hormone called human growth hormone, or HGH. Higher HGH supports more collagen production, firmer, more elastic skin, and HGH is exactly the hormone that falls off a cliff as men age, especially past 40. Less HGH, less collagen rebuilding, faster sagging. That's a huge part of why aging seems to accelerate in your 40s. The repair hormone is fading right when you need it. Now here's where fasting does something almost no other natural thing does. Fasting is one of the most powerful known triggers of natural HGH release. When you fast, your body ramps up growth hormones significantly, and the longer, deeper fasts push it higher. This is the same hormone men pay clinics thousands to inject. Your body will release it for free on a long enough fast because that's what it evolved to do during periods without food: protect and repair the body's tissues. More HGH means more raw signal to rebuild collagen. The scaffolding that's been quietly collapsing starts getting reinforced again. Picture your face as a tent. Collagen is the poles holding it taut. After 40, those poles are slowly being removed, one by one, and the canvas starts to droop. HGH is the crew that comes back and starts putting the poles back up. Fasting is what calls that crew back to the site. Quick win. If you want the HGH effect, the timing of your eating matters more than you'd think. Avoid eating right before bed. A sugar or insulin spike at night blunts the natural growth hormone pulse your body releases during deep sleep. An empty stomach at bedtime lets that pulse run clean. So now you're cleaning out the old damage and rebuilding the structure. But there's a third system, and this one isn't about building or cleaning. It's about stopping an active, ongoing attack on your face that most men have never even heard of. The third system is your body's defense against sugar damage, and this is the one that's silently aging you the fastest. Here's the process, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. When your blood sugar runs high, which it does all day, on a modern diet of constant carbs and snacks, that excess sugar physically sticks to the collagen in your skin. It's a process called glycation. The sugar molecules bond to the collagen fibers and cross-link them, turning what should be soft, springy, flexible scaffolding into something stiff, brittle, and burly. Scientists literally describe it as your skin slowly caramelizing from the inside. The end products of this process even have a fittingly ugly name: AGEs, Advanced Glycation End Products. And they do exactly what the acronym suggests. AGEs accumulate in your collagen and produce that leathery, stiff, dull texture of older skin. They degrade your skin's elasticity directly. The more sugar spiking through your blood year after year, the more your face stiffens and dulls. This is happening right now today in any man eating the standard high-sugar diet. So how does fasting stop it? Fasting attacks this on two fronts. First, obviously, while you're fasting, you're not adding new sugar to the bloodstream, so the glycation slows down immediately. But the deeper fix is this: fasting dramatically improves your insulin sensitivity, your body's ability to handle sugar properly and clear it from the blood quickly instead of letting it linger. When sugar spends less time circulating high, it has far less opportunity to stick to your collagen. You're not just pausing the damage, you're upgrading the system that prevents it in the first place. Think of glycation like sugar, slowly turning the flexible rubber bands in your skin into stiff, dried-out twigs. Every high-sugar meal stiffens a few more. Fasting stops feeding the process and gives your body the room to stop the caramelizing before it sets. Quick win. Beyond the fast itself, take a 10 to 15-minute walk after your largest meal. Moving muscle pulls sugar out of your blood fast, lowering the spike that drives glycation. It's one of the simplest things you can do to protect your collagen, and it works the same day. So now you've seen all three. Let's put them together, because this is where it becomes obvious why men who fast look younger, and why it hits so hard after 40. System 1, autophagy, clears the cellular garbage that makes skin dull, and it's switched off by constant eating. System 2, growth hormone, rebuilds the collagen scaffolding that keeps your face firm, and it's been crashing since your late 30s. System 3, insulin sensitivity, stops sugar from stiffening and caramelizing your collagen, and it erodes with every high-sugar year. 3 separate regeneration systems, all of which decline in your 40s, all of which fasting switches back on at the same time. That's the whole secret. It was never one magic effect. It's that a single habit, going without food for a meaningful stretch, happens to flip all 3 switches at once. The cleanup crew clocks in, the repair hormone surges, and the sugar attack stops. Run that on repeat, week after week, and the face slowly stops looking tired and starts looking rested, firmer, brighter. Not because you added anything, because you finally let your body do the maintenance it's been begging to do. And the reason it shows up so dramatically after 40 is simple math. Those are the exact years when all three systems are failing fastest,
which means they're also the years when turning them back on produces the most.
visible, fastest change. A 25-year-old fasting sees a subtle effect because his systems are mostly still running. A 45-year-old fasting sees a dramatic one because he's switching back on machinery that had nearly gone dark. Now, let me be straight with you, because that suspicion you had at the start was healthy, and I don't want to replace it with hype. Fasting is not magic. It will not erase deep wrinkles overnight or replace sun damage you've accumulated over decades. What it does is address the internal drivers of how your face ages, and those internal drivers are a much bigger share of the picture than the skincare industry will ever admit. Pair fasting with the obvious basics: real sleep, protein, water, and staying out of cigarette smoke and excess sun. And you're working with your biology instead of against it. One honest caution before you start. Fasting suits most healthy adults, but it's not for everyone. If you're on medication for diabetes or blood pressure, if you're underweight, if you have any history of an eating disorder, or you're managing a chronic condition, talk to your doctor first. This should make you healthier, not put you at risk. And start gentle. A 14 or 16-hour window is plenty to begin flipping these switches. You don't need to do anything extreme to see this work. So here's the real reframe, the thing I promised you at the start. That younger-looking man your age isn't beating time with a cream or a lucky gene. In all likelihood, he's just spending part of each day not eating, and in that window, his body is cleaning, rebuilding, and defending his skin from the inside. The mirror is just showing the result. Tell me in the comments, what's your eating window look like right now? Are you one of those guys grazing from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. without realizing it, or have you already got a fasting window going? Be honest, because that number alone explains a lot of what you see in the mirror. I read these, and I'm genuinely curious where most of you land. And if this changed how you see your own face, if you understood what's actually happening under your skin in the last 11 minutes, hit the like button. It's the one thing that tells the algorithm to show this to the next man who's been blaming his mirror on bad genes. Because here's the truth I'll leave you with. You were never just losing to time. You'd quietly switched off the three systems built to keep you young, and the man who looks a decade younger simply switched them back on. Now you know exactly how. The door's been unlocked this whole time. You just have to stop eating long enough to walk through it.